This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines.
How we doing over here? Good.
It's on to South Carolina and Nevada for the presidential candidates. North Korea says its new satellite is for peaceful scientific purposes. And another journalist is kidnapped and killed in Mexico.
Hello, I'm Sharon Carrillo.
And I'm Morgan Bartolotti.
Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are headed to South Carolina after their big victories in the New Hampshire primary last night. Trump's win is the biggest victory in a New Hampshire Republican primary since 2002. On his way to South Carolina, Sanders stopped in New York to meet with Reverend Al Sharpton. Sharpton has not made an endorsement and says he won't make any decisions until he meets with Hillary Clinton. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who finished sixth in the primaries last night, may be suspending his campaign sometimes this afternoon. The South Carolina primary will take place in 2 weeks.
The body of a 23-year-old Cal State Fullerton student has been found. Praveen Gallo was reported missing last week. This morning, his body was seen floating about 1,000 feet from the pier by lifeguards in Newport Beach. Gallo's roommates said that he had been very depressed and that it wasn't like him to not come home. The condition of his body is not known, and an autopsy will determine the cause of death.
Los Angeles County leaders are looking into a wide variety of options to fund for new homeless programs. The county has around 44,000 homeless people and counting. The county has set aside $150 million, but there is no guarantee that the funding is secure. The new plan will develop housing programs, create mobile showers, public restrooms, and sites for overnight parking. Mayor Garcetti thinks the funding may be too low to keep people off the streets for years to come.
Now with the latest on the weather in the newsroom, Matador News reporter Kendall Faulkner.
February is a winter month, but CSUN is experiencing some pretty typical summer weather. With a high of 86 degrees in Northridge, many are wondering why it is so hot. CSUN geography professor Julie Laity explains why.
Because there's a dome of high pressure over the area of Utah, and that high pressure creates compression. The air is sinking and compressing air warms by what's called an adiabatic process. So you have warming of that air, and then that air is being exported from Utah. It's high pressure, so the air blows out. It blows across the Los Angeles area. So it's basically an export of this really hot air from the region of Utah.
Yesterday's weather broke records. Now CSUN students are relaxing in the shade and trying to stay cool. CSUN student Payaz Zunta says he's not used to this weather.
I'm used to just it kind of being cold, but kind of getting warmer, but not hot instantly.
They brought out this infamous CSUN squirrels to play. Suns out, guns out is what I like to call this weather. Enjoy the heat while it lasts, and make sure to go to the beach this Valentine's Day weekend. Now, back to Sharon in the studio.
Police are searching for 2 men in connection with the death of a 1-year-old girl last night in Compton. Los Angeles officials say the gunman got out of a car, approached the home, and began shooting in the direction of a converted garage where Autumn Johnson was sleeping. She was shot in the head and pronounced dead at St. Francis Medical Center in Linwood. Detectives are investigating what the reason behind the shooting was and whether it was a gang affiliated.
North Korea officials say the launch of their new satellite is for scientific reasons only. The rocket, which Kim Jong-un personally directed, was launched from the Sohae Space Center on Sunday. The United States and other nations like Japan are viewing this launch as a possible missile test. South Korea says it will reach out to the United States with goals of creating a defense system to prevent missiles in flight.
Another journalist has been found dead in Mexico. Annabel Flores Salazar was a crime beat reporter who was allegedly kidnapped by armed assailants near Veracruz on Monday. Her body was discovered on a highway in the neighborhood stating of Puebla. At least 15 journalists have been killed in Veracruz since Governor Javier Duarte took office in 2010. His administration has been criticized for suggesting reporters having links to drug gangs. The New York-based Committee to Protect Journalism says Veracruz authorities have a long history of looking the other way and endangering local journalists.
Now we have Miracle Evans with business.
Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen is speaking before Congress on Capitol Hill about warning signs ahead for the economy. U.S. stocks have had a rough start to the year, with the S&P 500 being down 9%. Many oil companies are considering bankruptcy and defaults are skyrocketing, but Yellen says she's not completely pessimistic.
Economic growth could also exceed our projections for a number of reasons, including the possibility that low oil prices will boost U.S. economic growth more than we expect.
Yellen is also concerned that rising interest rates may cause problems for borrowers. Volkswagen is recalling a total of 850,000 cars in the U.S. because of problems with Takata airbags. Volkswagen says models from 2006 and 2014 will be affected. Honda also says more than 2 million of its cars in the U.S. were being recalled due to Takata airbags. No word from either company on how much the cost will be. Now back to Eric with sports.
The Los Angeles Clippers say they have suspended forward Blake Griffin for 4 games without pay for his actions in an altercation with a team employee January 23rd. The Clippers, in their statement, condemn Griffin's actions, but say that he is remorseful and has apologized to the team. Griffin has not played since injuring his hamstring on Christmas Day against the Lakers. Griffin also sustained a fractured hand in the altercation, which will keep him out of action for 2 to 4 more weeks. The Golden State Warriors put their 41-game home winning streak on the line against the Houston Rockets last night. Stephen Curry and James Harden will both be playing in the All-Star game on Sunday in Toronto. We picked this game up late in the first quarter where Stephen Curry hits a 3 in Clint Capella's face. Patrick Beverley with the pass out to James Harden for 3 to beat the shot clock in the second quarter. And now Warriors look a little bit like the Showtime Lakers. Steph Curry with the behind the back pass to Andre Iguodala, alley-oop to Leandro Barbosa. And Harrison Barnes caps the game off with a dunk, and the Warriors, with the final score, win 123-110. Golden State extends their home winning streak to 42 games and improve their overall record to 47-4. CSUN men's basketball looks to get their 9th win of the season tonight against Cal State Fullerton. The Matadors are led by junior guard Kendall Smith. Smith scored 30 points against the Titans in their last matchup. The Titans want to avenge their previous loss to the Matadors earlier this season. Guard Trey Cogans looks to follow up a 41-point performance against the Matadors with another spectacular performance tonight. Both teams hope to gain some momentum as March Madness approaches. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. tonight at home in the Matadome. And now to Miracle with entertainment.
Some are calling for a boycott of Beyoncé's new song, Formation. The songwriter's latest music video is set in New Orleans and features a wall saying, "Stop shooting us," which also refers to the Black Matters Live movement. The video also shows the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, with Beyoncé on top of a New Orleans police cruiser sinking in flooded water. According to a posting on Eventbrite, protesters are being asked to gather outside the headquarters of the New York City National Football League at 8 o'clock in the morning on February 16th. Many fans are still supporting Queen Bee and are looking forward to her Formation tour in April. Now to Eric Sklar with the latest on health.
President Obama is asking for almost $2 billion to create a Zika vaccine. Zika has caused 46 deaths internationally in the past 4 months. The vaccine will help pregnant women whose unborn babies are at risk for a birth defect called microcephaly. Even with the approval from Congress, there is no timetable of when the vaccine could be available. And the U.S. Food and Drug Administration needs to sign off on the vaccine before it is tested any further. Flint, Michigan residents now have to boil their water in order to protect themselves from the lead. From the lead. This comes after a water main break made the contaminated water situation even worse. Flint residents were already using filters on their faucets and drinking bottled water to protect themselves. Flint Mayor Karen Weaver says she will need $55 million to remove lead from the city pipelines. Michigan Governor Rick Snyder will ask the legislature for an additional $195 million in the funding for the crisis. That's all for health news. Now back to Morgan.
That is all for today. Thanks for watching. I am Sharon Carrillo.
And I'm Eric Sklar.
Morgan Bartolotti.
And I'm Miracle Evans.